This is Extra Paycheck Podcast, episode number 113.
You're listening to Extra Paycheck Podcast, where you will learn how to build and grow your own successful online business. Now, here's your host, Alex Soul.
Welcome to yet another episode of the Extra Paycheck Podcast. This is episode number 113, and today we'll be talking about creating high quality content for your blog, for your website, for your online business. I picked this subject because a lot of people have been asking me over the years, what exactly is good content? Because if you've been following my blog or my podcast, you have probably noticed by now that I always suggest creating high quality content for your online business. But I don't really go into the details of what exactly that means. What is a high quality content compared to something that's of low quality or bad content? And this is why I decided to do this very episode, so I could maybe help you out understand what good content is and how to create it. So when it comes to online marketing, content could mean different things. It could be images, videos, text, and quite a few other things. So today we'll be talking about actual articles, about blog posts. We'll be talking about written content because this is usually the majority of the content that's being created for online businesses, for blogs, for websites. So how do you write articles or blog posts of high quality? Well, first of all, there are two different ways to get those articles. You could pay someone to do it for you, or you could write them yourself. Now, the big problem that I see, especially for the beginners, with paying someone to do it is that you, first of all, need to know what exactly you want, what kind of content you want. After that, you need to have money to pay someone for creation of this content. And if you want high quality content, if you want it well written, if you want it well researched, each article will cost you quite a bit of money. You're not going to pay $5 or $3 or even $10 for a good high quality piece of article. You'll be paying $50, even $100 per article. And it could get very pricey, especially if you're just starting and your website is not bringing any money and, just money out. And there is no guarantee that those articles will eventually make you money because there's so many factors. You might abandon your business or your niche within a couple of months without ever making money. And there are just too many factors to kind of take this risk, in my opinion. And there's also the fact that you will need to go through many different writers until you actually find someone who's doing a good job. So that's something that I think is very expensive and complicated for beginner online marketers. If you've been doing your online marketing, your online business for years, and you kind of know what kind of content you want, you have some money to spend or to lose in some cases. And if you know where to look for these writers, if you know how to test them out, then yeah, by all means, go ahead and hire people to create content for you. This will only grow your business and give you more free time. But if you're a beginner, I would highly suggest writing your own content. And it will not only be cheaper for you, it would also help you understand how to produce that kind of content and what is good content. So let's move into the actual content creation. There's such a thing as keyword research, and I'm not going to be talking about it today, but keyword research is important and you should look it up. You should, pay attention to kind of keywords that people are using in order to find content online. But that's not what this show is about. It's about actually writing it and producing high quality content. So first thing that I would suggest is writing often and writing a lot. Write every single day. It doesn't have to be posted on your blog, but sit down and write something every single day. Because let me tell you, when I started in 2007, I really hated it and I was really, really bad at writing articles. I would spend 8 hours, maybe 10 hours writing a short 300, 400 word article because it's just something that didn't come naturally to me and it was really, really hard to do. However, the more I did it, the easier it became. And, if you really want to, you could dig deep down in Extra Paycheck blog archives and you'll find some of my articles from 2008. And to be honest with you, they're completely horrible. They're just they're just bad and they shouldn't exist. But, I left them there, I left them on the sides, but I'm really not proud of those articles. And if I read those blog posts compared to my blog post of today, of 2017, I see a huge difference and a huge improvement. And the only reason I got better at it is because I kept on writing. So some people have the natural skill of being great writers, copywriters, authors, whatever, but most people don't. And I'm one of those people that don't have a natural gift of writing well. So, the only thing I had to do was keep on trying and writing as much as I could. And eventually I got better at it. Another suggestion is being yourself. Don't try to fake it. Don't try to pretend like you're someone else when you're writing your content. If you have a small blog and you just want to talk to people about making furniture, don't pretend that you're this big corporation who makes furniture. Say it. Say that you're that one person. Be yourself. Once again, this helps a lot. I have found that, being yourself just makes it a lot easier to produce that content. When you're trying to explain something in an article, pretend that you're not explaining to a potential customer, but rather to a friend. Once again, be natural, be yourself. This will be easier and people will appreciate it. People will feel it when your content feels authentic and when it comes from the heart, quote unquote, when you're not faking it or trying to show off some, corporate vibe or whatever it is. Just write as if you're talking to a friend, and this will read easier and it will be easier for you to produce. If possible, try to find your unique angle, or once again, something more personal. If you like jokes and humor, try to incorporate that in a blog, even if it's a serious blog and you're trying to sell a serious product or promote a serious product, but your content doesn't have to be super serious. If you like jokes, once again, put in some jokes or some little humor stories or something that kind of defines you within your articles. Once again, people will appreciate it and they will feel like they're connecting with you. They will feel like you're an authentic and real person and not some marketer or some robot or some person that was hired to write that article. So be yourself, try to figure out what's this, unique trait of character and incorporate that into your content. So at the very beginning, I mentioned that you should be writing often and you'll get better at it with time. And there is another reason for it. The thing is that a longer content usually ranks better on Google search engine. And this is where we'll be getting our traffic. This is where people and customers or potential customers are coming to our website from. They're all coming from Google search, or at least most of them in my case. And what I've noticed over the past few years that longer content usually ranks better. For the purpose of this very episode, I decided to do a little search on Google so you could do that same search at home and kind of understand what I mean. So if you go to Google and search for this keyword phrase, what TV should I buy? I know, sounds pretty dumb and sound pretty basic, but a lot of people are typing that exactly keyword phrase because they want to buy a TV and there's so many options and so many prices and so many sizes and so many kinds of TVs that they simply don't know where to begin. When somebody types in this keyword phrase in Google search and clicks the go button or the search button, there will be a whole bunch of results. And this is not a really good keyword phrase because it's really generic and there are so many people competing for it. But for the sake of this article, of this episode, I chose that. And I look at 5 first results. So I had Tom's Guide, TechRadar, CNET, Consumer Reports, and Trusted Reviews. These are all big websites and they will be very, very hard to compete with. Once again, because this keyword phrase is generic, I wouldn't recommend it. But for demonstration purposes, I picked that. And I looked at their articles. So these are the top 5 results on Google for this keyword phrase. So Tom's Guide article had 3,000 words. TechRadar had 2,500 words. CNET, 2,600 words. Consumer Reports, 2,600 words. And Trusted Reviews, 2,500 words. As you can see, all 5 of them had over 2,000 words. And Also, what's important to notice, they all had less than 3,000 words, except Tom's Guide, which is number 1 and has 3,000 words. Now, I'm not saying that you should be writing over 3,000 words because we don't really know how Google search works. They never give out the real algorithm, of course, but we could speculate. And this is one of those things where we could see how longer articles rank well. So if you write an article of 300 words or 500 words or even 1,000 words, in my opinion, there's no chance you will ever rank on the front page of Google competing with articles that are 2,500 words or more. That's something very important. And when you are writing for your own niche, for your own product, for your own keyword, this is always my number one suggestion. Type in that keyword phrase in Google, search the results, and look through the first 10 or even 20 results. Top 20 results, look through each and every one of them and see what kind of content they wrote, how they wrote it, how many words they have, how they're approaching the whole idea. And this will make your job a lot easier. If you want to have a chance of ranking, you need to make content that's better than the content that you just looked at in the first top 10 or top 20 results. Let's just call it top 10. So if you found these 10 results and most of them have like 1,000 words, maybe 1,400 words, then you should definitely aim for 2,000 words, maybe even 2,500 words, because this alone will give you a higher chance of ranking well. Now, it's important to remember that you can't just have fluff in your articles. It has to simply be a better article with more details. And if it's a popular website that you're trying to compete with, you could read the comments. And in the comments, people might be asking questions. What about this product? Or what about this issue? And why didn't you cover the pricing or whatever that is? And you should pay attention to those comments because those are the points that you could bring up in your own article, making it better than the other articles out there. So after all, this is my biggest suggestion, and this is what I think will help you tremendously, is by paying a lot of attention to the articles, the top ranking articles that are already there, trying to figure out what's wrong with them or basically what you can improve on those articles and writing your own better version of theirs. Now, I'm not saying copy and paste, write everything from scratch, your own words, do more research, offer more details. Your main goal here is to write a better, more detailed article that covers more points or that covers the subject in more detail than the articles that are already ranking in the top 10. And that alone will give you a much higher chance of ranking well and bringing in more readers and more potential customers to your article, to your business, to your website. Now, if you are thinking, okay, Alex, that all sounds great, but there's no way I could write 2,500 words in one article. And once again, I get that. I totally understand you. 10 years ago, I wasn't able to do that, but practice makes perfection. If you can't do it now, if you can't write 2,000 word article, which is not, just fluff and filler words, which is actually interesting content, then you simply need to practice more. Keep writing. And if you think your article is good enough, it's not amazing, but it's good enough, do publish it. 3 years later, you could say, I wrote that article and it did okay, but now I have much more knowledge and I'm a much better writer, so I could rewrite that article now with more details and with more things, with more passion, and I could actually make it a new article and a much better one, which will perform a lot better than the previous article did. Just keep doing that. Don't give up. And I know it's really, really hard, especially when you're starting and you might feel like nothing's working out for you, especially if you've been writing for 3 months, 4 months, and you don't see any results. It's only because there are many other people doing the same thing. And, the secret to success here, most of these people will give up. Because people want instant rewards. People aren't thinking far ahead. People don't want to invest in the future. They want to invest into now, and they want to get the results right now. But if you outsmart them and you keep working on your business, if you keep writing, if you keep publishing, eventually your articles will start ranking much higher. You'll start getting a lot more traffic, but you just have to be patient and consistent to get there. And that will be your reward. And once you get to the point, you'll actually be making more money than you expected. But yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes months, and sometimes it could take years to get to that point. But in my opinion, it's worth it. As long as you keep working at it, as long as you keep improving on your writing, on your SEO, on everything that you're doing in your online business. Now, I'd like to offer a few more tips for your articles, and this is not as much about writing, but rather about formatting your articles. Because if your articles aren't formatted properly, then people will not read them, and they will leave them after reading like a few paragraphs or even just the first sentence. So there are a few things that you should be and should not be doing when it comes to formatting and publishing your actual article. First of all, you need to link out from your article. You could link to other websites that are not your website, or even better, if you could link to other pieces of content on your own website. So let's say you are writing on this very keyword phrase that I mentioned, what TV should I buy? And at some point you mentioned that, when you're buying a TV, you should pay attention to the price of the actual TV. And then you could mention something like, a few months ago, I put up a list of top best TVs that you could get under $1,000. And you could link that phrase to that article that you wrote previously that talks about TVs that cost less than $1,000. And this will be really good for search engines, once again, and for your readers, because a reader who is actually thinking of buying a TV that costs less than $1,000, they would be really happy that you provided them an actual link, so they don't have to look it up once again. They could just click on it, a new window opens or new tab opens, and now they have the choice of those TVs, and they could click on any of them and they could just purchase them. Hopefully you'll have affiliate links within those articles, taking them to Amazon or to Walmart or whatever affiliate program you're using. Now, by the way, before I forget, I'd like to mention that those top 5 results that I found on Google, Tom's Guide, Tech Radar, CNET, Consumer Reports, and Trusted Reviews, each and every one of them have affiliate links. They're not just, trying to simply help someone pick a TV. They are all making affiliate commissions from those articles. And if you look at those articles, you'll see that they are linking out to different products or different marketplaces. As I mentioned, Amazon being the biggest one. Some of them linked out to eBay, to Walmart, and a few other stores like B&H Photo and other ones. But they all have affiliate links. So they're making money from people searching that keyword phrase. It's that easy. I know it's a lot harder. It's easier said than done, but this is your live example of how affiliate marketing works. And those websites are making millions of dollars in affiliate commissions by writing these kind of articles, by producing this kind of content and giving out this kind of advice. Now, if you wrote an article and you're making a mention of something that is not on your website, it does make sense to link out to another website, even if you don't make an affiliate commission. But it will help your reader, and it will help search engines realize that you aren't only linking out to affiliate offers, you're also linking out to other trusted resources like Wikipedia, for example, or any other high authority website, because it only makes sense to direct your readers there. Another trick here, when you're linking out to your own articles, to affiliate offers, to other websites, make sure that you make your link to open in a new tab or a new window. This way, you don't lose that person forever. If you make them go to some Wikipedia article, they might look at it, they might read it, or they might not. But once they close that tab, they'll be back on your website. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I was reading that, so let me keep on reading. This is just a little tip, but it's very important. And I see a lot of people, they don't do that. I don't understand why. But that's one of my, like those quick, easy suggestions that are often overlooked, especially by beginner online marketers. If you're writing a long article of 2,000 words or more, actually it doesn't really matter the length of the article, but you have to format it so it's appealing to the eyes. You can't just post one big block of text. It looks hard to read and people will certainly not read it. I can guarantee that. If you have 2,000 words or even 1,000 words or even 500 words in one big block of text, nobody will ever read that. That scares people, and you shouldn't be doing that. Every few phrases, every few sentences, you should break to the new paragraph at least, but even better if you could have a huge subtitle, then some space, then you have a few sentences, then you have another subtitle, and so on. Just break your text so it looks like it's easy to read and it looks like it has its very own separate sections. This will be much more appealing to the eyes, to your readers, and there's a higher chance that they will actually stick around and they might scroll through your whole article just looking at the subtitles, right? But if they catch a subtitle that interests them, they'll stop and they'll read the rest of the text more attentively. If possible, use images to break up the text as well. Images or even videos. You could embed videos from YouTube into your page as long as they're relevant to that article, of course. Images, there are many different ways to get images, free or paid. You could make your own images. I'm using deposit files right now. I'm also using Unsplash and a few other websites to find amazing images for my content. And those images, they help breaking down your text, separating your paragraphs, your subtitles, and it's just easier to read. It's easier to consume this kind of content. One last thing that I want to mention here is do not use any funky fonts or backgrounds. These things are long gone. It was popular in 1999 and 2001 maybe, but those things are just horrible. Now, if you use some, very specific funky font, some cursive font that you think looks really cute or pretty or funny, chances are that a lot of your readers do not have that font installed in their browser. So they'll see some completely other font and it could be complete garbage and they wouldn't even be able to understand what's written. Now, second of all, kind of the same point, if your font is funky, it doesn't mean that it's easy to read or to understand. And, from personal experience, whenever I see a font that's not just, very simple and easy to read, I would never spend more than a second on that web page. I would close it and make sure I never come back because I don't want to force myself to try to understand the font. I'm already forcing myself to read. I'm giving my own time to read that content. But if I also have to spend time trying to figure out what that word is because the font is really weird and cursive, there is no way I'm reading that. And most of your readers feel the same way. If you have some funky font, people will not read it. So just keep it simple. Keep the stock font. Don't change it. The same goes to backgrounds. If your theme came with a white background, keep it that way. Don't make it black. Don't upload a huge picture and then put text over it. Just don't touch the background. Leave it as is because, themes are created with a specific purpose of making your content stand out. People who make those themes, they know what looks good. In most cases, of course. So don't try to change that. A lot of them will give you the option to change your background or simply background color. In 99% of cases, I would never touch that. I would just leave that alone because once again, you don't want to make it more difficult for your readers to actually read your content, to understand your content. It has to be clear, it has to be easy on the eyes, and it has to look simple and inviting. If you have any questions about content creation, or if you feel like I missed something in this episode, please do leave a comment or write me an email and I would be happy to get back to you and I would be happy to discuss that. So simply go to extrapodcast.com/113. This is where I'll be putting up a show notes page and you'll be able to comment there to ask any questions if you have any questions about content creation or anything online marketing or online business. Really, I would be happy to answer those questions and to help you out as much as I can. Now, if you want me to cover another topic, a very specific topic on this podcast, don't hesitate and please do let me know about it. Write me an email to alex@extra-podcast.com. You could once again leave a comment on the show notes page, or you could go to the contact me form on the Extra Paycheck blog, and I would be happy to cover many different subjects on this podcast. If you haven't already, head over to extrapodcast.com/iTunes, where you will be able to subscribe to this very podcast through iTunes. You could also leave a rating and a review if you haven't already, which will help the show tremendously. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Extra Paycheck Podcast, and I'll talk to you next Monday.